Good morning, everyone. Thanks for stopping by. Jerrel here. I hope you've got your morning coffee. Let's sit down and have a talk about our upcoming Guardians and Metal Exterminators. So I'm quite excited about this game. It's been in planning for quite a while now, and I wasn't intending on developing this game so soon. As you know, we all had a lineup, and we were going to do Undertaker's episode Watchtower, Deadly Shadows. But as we look at where the industry is going in terms of supporting the 3DS, that system may be not seeing support for too much longer now. This is just a feeling. I'm not. I don't have any sort of inside knowledge. I don't have any contacts that are telling me about the 3DS, but it just feels like maybe at some point the 3DS won't be allowing submission for more games. Again, that's just a feeling I have. This isn't official or anything, but I just wanted to show my appreciation for everyone who supported 3 Down Stars on the 3DS, and for all the people that let us know that they still would love to have new, exciting 3DS games to play. That is why I've fast-tracked Guardians and Metal Exterminators, and the reason why I picked that game is because I can design that game to be a cross-platform game so that it can exist on both 3DS and the Switch. The 3DS is a difficult platform to develop for us because we aren't going to make a whole lot of money on the 3DS. And again, money is not the most important thing in the world. It's not the most important thing to us. The important thing to us is creating interesting and exciting games that people can really enjoy and have a lot of fun with and find, value in the Silver Falls games. That's what's important to us. So that's why we've decided to work on Guardians and Metal Exterminators to put it on the 3DS. But that being said, we really need money to keep the studio afloat right now. So that's why we are developing it as a cross-platform game with the Switch, as games obviously will make a lot more money on the Switch, which will allow me to support the studio and keep developing more games. So I'm very excited. I don't want to spoil too much because the game itself was supposed to be a bit of a surprise. I was intending on doing a surprise launch and just saying, "Oh, hey guys, check this out." It's supposed to be just a fun addition to the series that doesn't have an enormous storyline the way that 3 Down Stars or Deadly Shadows would have. It does have a story, but the way that it's told, I don't want to ruin that. The presentation style, I don't want to, spoil anything because I want people to go in fresh with Guardians and Metal Exterminators. So some details I can share are that on the 3DS, it's pretty much going to be the same experience that you'll find on the Switch. But the core difference is that the Switch will feature a 4-player multiplayer. So I'm going to have a sip of coffee real quick. Good coffee. So Guardians and Metal Exterminators, you will be able to play a 1v1, 2v2, or 1v3 for couch co-op. There isn't any online support. Our studio isn't big enough to be able to reliably provide an online multiplayer service. So for the time being, Guardians and Metal Exterminators will be couch co-op. It's a local multiplayer. Right now it's same console, and potentially I'll look at a cross-console where you can have your console and someone else can have their console. But at the time being, I am still focusing on the bigger titles in the series, so I may not have the time to invest with Guardians and Metal Exterminators to implement that. Because that is quite time-consuming and it is resource-intensive. And again, I'm focusing on the bigger games in the series. So Guardians and Metal Exterminators is meant to be action-packed, highly replayable. You can play in small chunks here and there. If you're sitting on the train or on the bus for a couple minutes, you can do a couple missions in the game and have fun with it that way. As you sort of power up each character has their own stats, and you earn experience points by finishing missions. When you level up stats, each time you level up a stat to a certain degree, a cutscene will trigger, a bit of storyline segment for that character will trigger, and you can see the story progress, and you can learn a bit more about the character and watch their story progress in the timeline. So Guardians and Metal Exterminators takes place shortly after Deadly Shadows. So this is hopefully, we're trying to make up a little bit for the fact that we did have to cancel Deadly Shadows for the 3DS, and that's because we just didn't bring in a big enough audience with 3 down stars when it launched, and any game that we publish on the 3DS, we understand we are not really going to make a return on investment. Anything we do on the 3DS, we know it's costing us way more than we're going to be bringing in revenue for us. And again, to me personally, that's not the important thing about making games. I don't really care about, oh, I need to bring in this much money if I invest this and that. The fact that people message me and they say, oh man, I'm so excited, there's a new 3DS game, thank you for making a 3DS game, you know, and people message me and let me know how much they enjoy Silver Falls on the 3DS. That's awesome. That's absolutely worth it for me. And that's the reason why I make games, is it's fun and it's exciting, and it's something you can enjoy on a level beyond, you know, oh, I'm just mindlessly poking and swiping my screen. So the 3DS games we're doing, I do have to balance that. I don't have the time to implement multiplayer on the 3DS, but I still want the core experience to be very fun. But on the Switch, I would love to see or hear about people sitting down with their friends and playing. And you may be thinking, oh, that's so weird. How are you supposed to do PvP, you know? Because it would look weird to see Silver Falls characters fight each other. And that's where the exciting part comes in that in Guardians and Metal Exterminators, you will be able to play as the human characters, who are generally regarded as the Guardians. And, oh, that's weird. If you look at the title, you see that the term Metal Exterminators. So the Exterminators are generally referring to the monsters and enemies in the Silver Falls universe. So you will be able to play as a number of enemies from the Silver Falls series. So if you're familiar with 3 down stars, you've got, you know, those handsy fellas. You've got those, you know, weird faces on a stick thing. You've got those, I don't know what some people call, you know, those headless chickens. And the reason why we don't give them names in the game, and we just have, you know, characters sort of refer to them vaguely, is when you give something a name, it's easier to understand it, and you can identify it. You know, you see a zombie, and you say, oh, it's a zombie. You see a werewolf, and you say, yeah, it's a werewolf. You can put a label on it, and you understand it. So in the Silver Falls games, we generally don't label and name the monsters, because then it becomes more abstract, and the player has to create a name for that monster, and they can form an attachment to that monster because of that. So, we'll be referring to the monsters internally. Obviously, we have the monsters named. In the game, they'll be sort of given nicknames, but you will be able to play as a number of creatures. And again, I've never posted any information in terms of marketing and social media. We've never referenced or even shown any of the sort of the creatures that are in 3 down stars, because I don't want to spoil the flow of the game and the pacing and the surprises that are in 3 down stars. So in Guardians and Metal Exterminators, I kind of hope that doesn't spoil the shock and surprise that are in the other Silver Falls games, but you get to play as a number of enemies. You'll be able to equip weapons to humans, but the enemies will also have their own form of customization, so you either play on the side of the enemies or the monsters and things like that, or you can play as the humans and sort of punch on. Excuse me. So it's not exactly a button masher hack and slash, because your spacing, your timing is very important. Your hitbox data is very important. If anyone has played Animele, which I made, I think I launched that in 2016. Quite a bit of experience developing fighting games and fighting characters. So with Guardians and Metal Exterminators, it was very important to me to have hitbox data and timing and spacing that you have to consider. So if you just button mash, It's not a random button masher. There's quite a bit of strategy to it. There are items that you can pick up throughout the level. Say, for example, you can throw Molotovs or set down bear traps, or you can set up certain ways so that your attacks can do more damage. For players who have enjoyed 3 Down Stars, they might be familiar with this sort of elemental setup system. Say, for example, if you are somehow able to use an item that covers an enemy in water that makes them more wet, then your ice and your electric attacks will do more damage, but then your fire will do less damage. If you're able to cover an enemy with oil using, say, for example, something like bear spray, that your fire attacks will do more damage. So there's a setup system like that as well in Guardians. Anyway, I hope you'll stick around, and over the next few days I'll post more information on Guardians and Metal Exterminators. I'm having a lot of fun working on. I wish I could show you guys all the stuff I'm working on as I'm making progress through it. But I'm hoping to have that game totally finished, submitted to Nintendo before the end of this month, which is November. And I'd really just like to get that game out so people can play and enjoy it. So thanks for stopping by. I really enjoyed sitting down and having a chat with you guys today. Please keep on sending me messages through social media if you have any questions, or if you find something in the game that you really enjoy. If you find, a funny line of dialogue or a character you think is kind of neat. I enjoy hearing from you guys, but also if people sort of let me know, this character's interesting or that's interesting, then when I plan out, future games, and I intend to have, characters in the background, then if I get a feel for which characters people are interested in, I can sort of feature them a bit more and flesh out their backstories a little more. Because every character, I'm sure you probably noticed, has quite a bit of backstory and depth to them, and it's all just sort of sitting in my notebook here. And I just sort of pick out small bits of their information. I pepper them in through each game so that players can learn more and explore each character gradually over different games. So, anyway, thanks for checking in. I hope you guys have the great rest of your week. Enjoy your coffee, and then we will... better for my coffee now. We'll see you again soon in Silver Falls. Cheers.